Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. It is Saturday, the 2nd or 3rd, I think, of September 2020. This is another writing on the wall. I'm going to try and do some really quick bursts because I've listened to plenty of people, been researching myself, and there's a few things that I want to just get out there for other people to look at. So please comment on any of these videos if you go away and dig deeper and find out more, because you know I'm a Gemini, I like to know more always. So I would really appreciate that. So this is just a quick bite of what's really going on. And so we have all been going through this fiasco, this scenario that makes no sense, with rules coming out that make no sense in the UK, rules that literally are gaslighting. They make so little sense that you feel crazy even taking note of them, changing the rules so quickly from one day to the next, so nobody knows if they're within the rules or not, and what are these rules all about, because it's quite obviously not about whether there is this thing, virus or not. Matters not really. We're not seeing the extent of it. We've had to live with them for a very long time, and we are not seeing what they told us we would see. We're not seeing dead bodies lining up on the street, people dropping down dead. We're seeing empty hospitals. We're seeing people being afraid, yes, but we're seeing deaths being manipulated on the death certificate when it's been a car crash, and they've had to come out and admit that, but the redaction is never quite as big as the previous headline. So there's lots going on, and I've kept warning that it's nothing to do with said virus. It's nothing to do with what they're telling us. It's to do with many other moving parts that are much darker. It is also to do with many moving parts of very powerful people who maybe knowing that their time is nigh, their time is nearly up, trying to move things around, because they've always written laws, they've always built systems and policies that serve them. So while everybody's been distracted and living in fear over this invisible boogeyman, we have been seeing that behind the scenes, these globalists, these elites that are in real serious trouble because of the truths that are coming out, have actually been moving things around to protect themselves, moving locations, moving around laws, breaking previous laws, manipulating Parliament in the UK, manipulating Parliament in Ireland and in the USA, in particular Australia and Canada. So all of these moving parts have been happening. China is at the bed of it. And so I just want to go through a few things and hope that you guys pick up on it and can research, if you have time, a little bit more on these names, particularly if I have any friends that are listening from Ireland, who are in Ireland, who can dig a bit deeper into this. Because we look at Dennis O'Brien, a big guy in Ireland. He owns Communicorp. I'm reading off my notes here. A huge media reach worldwide through Communicorp. He has the rights to the major papers in Ireland, and also the three biggest radio stations in Ireland. So, we're seeing another Maxwell, we're seeing another man with the capabilities to spread a narrative that serves the few and indeed serves himself. So he is one to watch. Now, he was one of the top 25 donors to the Clintons, in particular to the Haiti crisis. So look into that. He also owns Digicel. Now, Digicel was part of the tablet making in Haiti, where they wanted to look like philanthropists and go and build the tablets in Haiti to give these poor people the jobs, when really it was just slave labor, very cheap labor from desperate people. And so from that chaos, they created income, they created more for themselves rather than really helping the people. And so we find that Gemma O'Doherty, also in Ireland, after reporting on the huge corruption in the police force in Ireland, was unfairly fired by Dennis O'Brien. she won a court case against him for unfairly firing her, but giving her unfair dismissal. But we see that that hardly got reported on. And she was telling a lot of truths about the depths of the corruption in the police force in Ireland. And so we see now that Tony Ryan helped also, and Dennis O'Brien also helped the very disgraced Mexican president Carlos Salinas to have asylum in Ireland. How many of us knew he was there? And so building these deep connections. Now, during this time where everything's been locked down, these powers, these globalists have reached out all of their tentacles to every level to build protection, to build laws that, you know, so normalizing, even the normalizing of pedophilia, we see would protect them to a great extent if they can just hold out a little bit to get that agenda passed. And so we see that there's many moving parts, many different chess moves going on behind the scenes, while we've all been distracted and fearing over something that there is nothing to fear over. So we see now that the Clintons are also buying a lot of property in Ireland. Are they going to be the next people that seek some kind of asylum there? And will Dennis O'Brien be all too happy but to accommodate, because, you know, it's a powerful connection? We see that Emiliano Salinas, I hope I'm saying that right, who is the former Mexican president's son, is also high up and connected to the Mexican branch of NXIVM. So all of you see how they're like octopuses, not as nice as octopuses, but all of their tentacles reach in, and they all have mutual vulnerability. They all have a reason to protect one another, because, and that's how they build it. It's not that they can build real friends. It's not that they have real empathy with anybody. So I doubt there's any true real relationships going on here, but they have mutual vulnerability. That is a key thing to do, whether you're in a gang, whether you are in the presidential suite, or whether you are in parliament. Whatever level you are, the key thing to do is to build mutual vulnerability. If you're going to get away with something that is dark, if you're going to get away with something that goes against the grain of being a humane person, then you build mutual vulnerability to whoever you're working with, because that builds protection for the future. They can't come out with the truth because they know some way, somehow, they are connected. So they like these connections. It's not that they're kind to each other or that they're friends as we know friends. It is this mutual vulnerability. It's a tactic. It's a chess move on every level, whether it's street level or presidential level, parliament level or royalty level. It is a tactic. So we look at Claire Bronfman now being sentenced to 7 years. Now, she deserved a hell of a lot more because she was a top dog also in NXIVM. But that is a huge thing that hopefully she stays locked up, because nothing would surprise us right now. That is a huge thing that she got that sentence at all, because she hasn't been able to be touched before. So, you know, the fact that she's getting that is a huge plus. Taking note of the number 7, it made me think of completion. It made me think of the 7 days in the week. The bridge, you know, is it going to be a bridge to enable us to have other arrests of the NXIVM crew? So we see now that we look at Stephen Bronfman. Now, he is in Canada and a huge part of NXIVM there. He also gives a lot of money towards the political interest of Cuomo, I think you pronounce it. And so we look at him, and you look up, and he totally failed to look into NXIVM at all, and still is doing so, because he gets a lot of backing from the NXIVM people. He gets a lot of backing from this Stephen Bronfman. And so now we look at the HEKATE again and the connection there. going back to Dennis O'Brien. He has huge connections with the Clintons, with the Nexium Foundation, and with some people called JP and Ula Bak, B-A-K. And they made out that they were going to be, again, huge philanthropists who wanted to help the poor people in Haiti, to give them jobs to build these tablets. Really, it was just slave labor, cheap labor. Now, they denied any connection with China, but we now find out through amazing Polly, who's great to look at for any research, to back up your own research or find out more. We now find out that through her research that they are absolutely connected with China, in that the parts are made in China and then shipped to Haiti, and they're built up from there into the tablets. Now, you look at that, and they are also involved heavily with Microsoft. Microsoft is the ones that provide certain parts. Bill Gates is hugely in line with this. And so he has a long history in China, doesn't he, with his business reaching there from 1992. And so when it says, Ms. and Polly talks about them talking about silent partners from China, unnamed partners from China, it could be him, because he has a huge number of years working in China, over 20 years of having his businesses there, having his parts built there. So when we talk about Microsoft parts, we are talking in a great deal about Chinese parts. And so we see that there's this ploy going on between all of these people, and this is just one thing, one of the moving parts that are coming up while everybody is distracted. We can see that the way the school system has shifted, they have used this time, this lockdown, to force the fact that we need to be able to really embrace technology even more for schooling, because look, it's managed to allow children to have schooling from home. And that would seem like a really great thing on the surface, and on the surface it is. But the fact that these people did this knowing that they were going to push their philanthropy through the schools, we're going to give these away to schools, we're going to give them away to schools. So now these things have already been given away to schools and are being used even more so than they ever would have been before. These things are in people's homes so that the children can work from home, but they're filled with Chinese parts. And so we look at the fact that BAC then closed down. It turned into blank tech. And so Christian BAC, their son, JP and Ula BAC's son, takes over. And he is quoted, Amazing Polly found the article, as being hugely interested and qualified in scientific intelligence and how that would affect foreign policies. So you see that the tentacles are reaching through these nasty things that have already been done and built up. They're thinking ahead, and they put on this shiny surface, and they use chaos, the chaos that they've put us in deliberately, unnecessarily, to move their agendas. So we see that the normalizing of paedophilia in schools, we see the different teaching styles happening, and now we see that not just within the schools, but the school system leaking into the home with the technologies that are very, very questionable, with chips in them from China that are very, very questionable. And so we look at the fact that Christian BAC is very interested in that, and how things of science will shape future foreign policies. And we see that this is helping to shape future foreign policies. We hear Parliament talking about breaking international laws, breaking NATO laws, breaking civil rights laws live in their live stream. And so we look now that the fact that HEKATE-A, which is also involved with the tablets that have been built in Haiti, and BAC USA, both receiving huge tax relief to fund, you know, to help them out so they didn't go under, because of course this was for a good cause. This was, you know, to help people in Haiti, and then further down the line to help children be educated, but educated how and what with. And so then we look at the fact, I'm going to turn this page, we look at the fact that if this is all happening, and this is just one little slice of what is happening, look at these names that I've mentioned even deeper. Look how they're all connected. Look how Ireland is acting right now. Look at this man, Dennis O'Brien, who, like Maxwell, has a monopoly on the media. Look at his connections with the Clintons, him being one of the top 25 donors. Then look at the fact that the Clintons were absolutely integral in creating these job opportunities in Haiti, that these retired, lovely people, judges, lawyers, JP and Ula Bak, would help make jobs in Haiti for poor people who've been devastated by an earthquake, but also then be such good people to help almost give away for free those tablets into the schools. At first denying that they had any connections with China. Maybe they were just playing with words. Maybe it was the connection with Bill Gates that they just didn't want to talk about, but they failed to say. But yes, Bill Gates has had businesses running from China very successfully, being one of the top tech companies in China very successfully for over 20 years. We look at all of the Nexium connections between all of this. Then we look at the fact that in New York right now, that governor of New York, who has ruined New York, is actually pushing those tablets into the northern New York schools. He's pushing it so hard. Why? We know that the education system has been a conditioning system. We know that the history, the science, the ethics taught in those schools are manipulated, corrupted, and are conflicting to what many feel is our real history. We know that they have used manipulative tactics. Now they're really pushing using technology as manipulative tactics. I just want to remind people that, you know, that all the social medias, including my personal friend, who, you know, was tested on without any consent for months and felt really, really low, until she got a questionnaire from Facebook itself to say, how have you been feeling these last 3 months? Because we've been doing a test and putting a series of posts on your newsfeed, and we'd like to know how they've affected you emotionally. At that point, she realized that she had been MK Ultra'd because she had been really low, really upset, not like her at all, really depressed. When looking through the post, she realized that all of the posts that were popping up were animal cruelty, human cruelty, animal cruelty, human cruelty. So they literally manipulated her mind without her knowing it into thinking the world had turned so dark that predominantly people were bad, because that's all that she was seeing. So it's so easy for them to use technology to corrupt and conform. What are they trying to do to the next generation? What are they trying to normalize? What are they trying to create with our children? So look into this. If you know any more about the names that I've mentioned, and of course these are just going to be little slices of what I find out about what's going on, you know, let me know. I'm going to keep pumping these out as much as I can. I love researching, I love finding out things, I love doing it intuitively, and then I love doing it physically to back up that intuition, and vice versa. It's fun to me. I like to catch these people out. So yeah, the very person, the people that have been, you know, on the face of all of this goodness, all of this philanthropy, all of this, you know, goodness of their heart, nothing of the sort. They've all been manipulating, making plenty of money, getting tax money to bail them out. It is so dark. They are getting away with so much in this background you can't even imagine. I can't even say half of the things that I know, because I don't know what kind of dangers that would bring. But at the same time, I want to bring out as much as I can and allow others to research even further, to know that this lockdown, this craziness, these stupid rules that don't make any sense coming out of the UK, they're all just gaslighting and distracting for the good of these very, very dark people that have been getting away with stuff for far, far too long. Do we really want the Clintons that close to our homeland in the UK? Hell no. Hell no. They should be done for treason, child abuse, and more. Do we really want the likes of Dennis O'Brien having such a monopoly over the media? Hell no. No, we don't. You know, these people have got far too much of a monopoly over too many things, and they sneak them in with gifts. What does somebody do when they're trying to kidnap a child? What do we teach our children about talking to strangers just in case? They give them sweets, they give them nice things, they compliment them, they build them up. Or they talk about puppies, or they talk about something that will pique the interest of the child, that will distract the child. Like children, we have been far too distracted through this. Far too many numbers have been taken in by this game that they've been playing, this lockdown, while they've just been creating more wealth for themselves, laws that will ultimately protect them in the future, even when more truths come out, which they will. They're working very, very hard in the background. And so far, they've had some disappointments, like this arrest and the sentence of 7 years for that Bronfman woman. What was her name? Claire Bronfman. But, you know, on the whole of it, they're working real hard and they're doing real well at moving the parts, because because the masses aren't looking at it, because we're not talking about it loudly, because we're distracted through fear. Don't let them get away with this. Do your own research and let me know any leads, please. If you put a hashtag on your comment, if that is a question, I'll try and answer as many as I can. If you put a hashtag just for info for me so I can catch sight of the comment, that would be great for any further names to look at, especially connected to this Dennis O'Brien. We want to know exactly who he is and what he's up to so close to homeland. Yeah, so let me know. I'd really appreciate that. So much love. Be balanced and be whole. Again, this is just a little slice of something to show these tentacles and how far they go, and why on the face of it, Parliament and government in the USA is looking so crazy. It's a show. It's a distraction. It is a abductor teasing a child with something to distract. And like children, many have been distracted. So let's not do that anymore. Let's get researching and let's shout this out loudly so that nobody can be in any doubt. Let's not let them get away with things that they should not get away with. Let's build ourselves, children at the foundation of it all. So much love, be balanced and be whole. Mwah.